PK boosters are being overused, and it's backfiring in grows everywhere. They're in every feed chart, every bottle lineup, and growers are adding them hard, then wondering why plants stall late flower. Here's what we're actually seeing in the garden. Burnt leaf edges, even with a safe EC. Calcium and magnesium issues popping up late. Buds harden fast, then stop swelling. Terpene profiles flatten, and plants finish stressed, not ripened. Let's get into the facts. Cannabis only needs a moderate bump in phosphorus and potassium during peak flower. Too much potassium competes with calcium and magnesium. High PK does not force more resin or yield. Bud swelling? That's driven by photosynthesis and carbohydrate flow, not chemical spikes. The most common mistake? Stacking multiple PK products or running them for too many weeks trying to push weight. Here's your reality check. PK boosters don't create yield, they support it when the plant is ready. Once uptake is maxed out, all that extra PK just causes imbalance and stress. So, let's get into it. Are you running a PK booster? When do you start? Are you using one product or stacking multiple? Ever get better results by backing off instead of pushing harder? Drop your real-world results below, because this exact issue, it's showing up in grow tents, in labs, and in commercial rooms right now. Foliar spraying in flower is causing more damage than benefit, and growers are learning the hard way. Foliar feeds and so-called preventative sprays are trending hard right now, but what we're seeing in real grows, it's not good. Here's what's actually happening after those late sprays. Powdery mildew showing up weeks later. Bud rot starting deep inside colas. Burnt pistils, damaged trichomes. Terpene expression drops off. And moisture gets trapped where airflow can't reach. Let's talk science, no hype. Dense flowers do not dry like leaves. Extra moisture equals exponentially higher mold risk. Trichomes are fragile and easily damaged by liquids and surfactants. Late flower plants absorb very little through foliage, and most deficiencies in flower, they start in the root zone, not the leaves. The most common mistake? Spraying buds in late flower to fix a deficiency, boost terps, or prevent PM, and ending up with a wrecked harvest. Here's the reality. Once buds are forming, keeping them dry is more important than adding anything. Healthy roots plus a dialed environment will outperform any spray. So let's talk honestly. Do you foliar spray? When do you stop? Ever see issues show up weeks after a spray? Anyone cut out foliar sprays completely and get cleaner results? Drop your experience below, because this one habit, it's quietly ruining otherwise great grows. Fast drying is ruining terps, especially in winter. You pulled fire-looking plants, but the final smoke? Flat, harsh, weak? What happened? Here's what growers are actually seeing. Loud plants going grassy after the dry. Terps vanishing within days. Buds crisp outside, wet inside. Harsh smoke, even with a perfect flush. And potency that just doesn't hit like it should. Let's get into the science. Terpenes are volatile. They evaporate fast. A quick dry means terps are gone before curing even starts. Winter air plus heaters equals dangerously low humidity. Once terps are gone, no cure can bring them back. Drying isn't just moisture removal, it's controlled degradation. The most common mistake? Get it dry fast to avoid mold, and ending up bone dry in 3 days with zero flavor left. Here's your reality check. Drying too fast is just as damaging as drying too slow. The goal isn't dry, it's slow, even moisture release over time. So let's talk. How long is your dry taking right now? What temp and RH are you aiming for? Ever slow it down and notice way louder terps? Drop your real-world experience below, because this one post-harvest step, it's the difference between forgettable and unforgettable. EC creep in cocoa is causing mystery deficiencies, and it's hitting a lot of grows right now. If you're in cocoa and your plants are showing signs of deficiency despite a solid feed schedule, you might be chasing the wrong problem. Here's what growers are seeing: leaf tip burn and pale new growth, calcium and magnesium issues that just won't correct, plants drinking less but still getting the same feed, runoff, EC climbing higher every week. Perfect input numbers with worsening symptoms. Let's break it down. Cocoa holds and releases salts differently than soil. When transpiration slows from cold nights or low VPD, uptake drops. Keep feeding like nothing's changed, EC stacks in the root zone. Excess potassium and sodium push out calcium and magnesium. The plant shows deficiency symptoms, but the cause is excess, not lack. The most common mistake? Seeing a deficiency and raising EC, which makes the imbalance worse. Here's your reality check. Cocoa doesn't need static recipes. It needs dynamic feeding based on how the plant is actually behaving. When growth slows down, your inputs need to slow down too. So let's talk. Are you running cocoa right now? What's your input EC versus runoff EC? Ever fix a deficiency by lowering feed strength or increasing dryback? Drop your real-world experience below. This exact issue is quietly affecting a huge number of winter cocoa grows. Nitrogen toxicity is being misdiagnosed as good health, and it's costing growers in flower. Dark green, shiny plants are getting praised right now, but a lot of them, they're actually overloaded with nitrogen, especially heading into flower. Here's what growers are really seeing: glossy, overly dark leaves, leaf tips clawing down, slowed flower development, excess foliage crowding out bud sites, muted terps in late flower, and delayed ripening that throws off the whole harvest window. Let's get clear on the facts. Nitrogen drives leaf growth, not flower production. Too much N suppresses potassium and calcium uptake. High N levels keep plants in a semi-veg state. Terpene and resin production drop when nitrogen stays high too long. And in winter, many grows slow down, but feeds don't get adjusted. The most common mistake? Seeing a dark green plant and thinking, she's loving it, then pushing veg-level nitrogen deep into flower. Here's the reality. Healthy green doesn't mean dark green. In flower, a slightly lighter shade? That's not a deficiency. It's a dialed-in transition. So let's check in. What's your nitrogen level in early versus mid-flower? Ever back off the N and suddenly see better buds and louder aroma? Are you running soil, cocoa, or hydro? And does this show up differently for you? Drop your real-world experience below. This quiet issue is stealing yield, flavor, and finish right now. Over-dry root zones are causing calcium deficiency, and CalMag isn't fixing it. Once again, growers are chasing calcium problems. But here's the truth. The issue isn't lack of CalMag, it's poor root zone moisture. Here's what people are actually seeing in the garden: rust spots and edge burn on newer leaves. Calcium symptoms that won't go away, no matter how much you feed. Wilting fast between waterings, weak stems and uneven tops, and runoff. EC looking fine, but the plant still looks off. Let's talk facts. Calcium moves with water, not just concentration. When the root zone gets too dry, transpiration slows. Dry soil or cocoa breaks capillary action and calcium flow with it. Moisture stress at the roots equals less calcium uptake, even when it's in the feed. And in winter, VPD swings make drybacks even harsher. The most common mistake? Seeing calcium signs arrow adding more cal-mag, arrow raising EC arrow stressing the roots more. Here's the reality check. Most calcium deficiencies aren't nutrient issues, they're watering issues. Roots need steady moisture and oxygen to move calcium properly. So let's break it down. What medium are you running? How dry are you letting your pots get between irrigations? Ever fix a calcium issue without adding more cal-mag, just by dialing in your watering? Drop your real-world experience below. This one mistake is quietly showing up in winter grows everywhere, and it's costing plants big time. Plants are eating less, but feeding hasn't changed. And that's exactly why winter grows are stalling. Here's the reality. A lot of winter problems that look like deficiencies aren't. They're symptoms of overfeeding when plant metabolism slows down. Here's what growers are actually seeing. Runoff EC creeping up, even with perfect inputs. Leaf tip burn paired with pale or blotchy new growth. Plants drinking less but still getting full feeds. Lockouts that won't correct, even with adjustments. And growth that mysteriously stalls, despite stable temps and lights. Let's break it down. Cannabis uptake is driven by transpiration, not your calendar. Winter equals cooler temps, lower leaf temps, and major VPD shifts. Metabolism slows, but feeding often stays the same. That mismatch causes salt buildup, and by the time the leaves show stress, the root zone is already out of balance. The most common mistake? Feeding the same EC because that's what the chart says, even when the plant is clearly slowing down. Here's your reality check. Plants don't care about your recipe. If they're not metabolizing fast, they don't need as much. If you don't adjust, the stress stacks silently. So let's get specific. Have you adjusted your EC or feeding frequency for winter? Are your plants drinking slower than usual? Ever fix a lockout just by backing off, not by adding more? Drop your real-world experience below, because this one adjustment, it's quietly saving a lot of winter grows right now.